just discredited all of our leaders and killed all of our leaders, bro.
Yeah,
So where
basically.
we had no one to look at besides these imposters, I call them, because they're sellouts, bro. Really, like, really, I'm talking about all these influencers, bro.
Yeah,
They're
bro.
sellouts to our
All of them.
community.
It's all a game, bro, and it's being executed at the highest level by the people who run it. And
Yep.
then the
And you
people who
honest?
are the players, they don't want to face that reality that they've been getting pimped for God knows how long.
No different than a woman on the street getting pimped out for sex and coming back while giving her money to the man, and he gives her back how much he wants to give her. That's basically what, dude. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm cool with paying taxes.
I'm pretty sure you heard about it. You heard about what happened to PNB?
PNB Rock, yeah, he
Yeah.
got shot in that store for
Bro.
his chain, bro. Like,
And that's really what I wanted to like pick your brain about.
Yeah.
Because like when I'm looking at that, I'm like, when I first saw it, I'm like, damn, that's messed up. Like his girl posted his location and then they ran up on him. But that's just at the surface level. That's what it looked like.
yeah,
But if you looked at it, the build up to it, this man was on Instagram Live beefing with gangbangers. He was
Yeah.
talking about how nobody's gonna run up on him and snatch his chain. He's doing all this stuff, and you got all this money that you could be using to, like, I don't know, make more music or help people or whatever the case may be. Instead, you buy this jewelry, and then you go on the internet flexing how nobody gonna take it from you. I feel like, I'm not saying what she did was right in terms of revealing that location. I don't know why people do that.
Yeah.
I if I'm gonna take a picture and I'm somewhere, I'm gonna say that mug to my camera roll and then post it when I get to the
Yeah,
crib.
when you leave.
You're not gonna catch me out there. But like, I feel like everybody had a part to play in that, because if she posted that, but then he's on the internet talking all this stuff over some jewelry and like just trying to still be like a gangbanger, even though he got all this money, I'm like, was it really worth it? And bro was only 30. Now he made it out longer than other rappers, but still 30 is not old at all.
Yeah, he was still really in his prime, really.
Yeah.
And I heard he had just became independent. And I'm gonna say the rapper lifestyle, it's not really it's not what it seems. Like, all the flexing they do on social media, it's really just to grab an audience.
I mean,
They're actors, bro. And like, they get signed by these companies and they're basically used as puppets. So you may think that PNB Rock had all this money and he was flexing, but he really didn't have anything. And when you sign a label, they try to use you're basically a slave to them at that point, and they use you until they can't anymore. And I feel like when you try to go independent after you sign, and they're like, and once you sign, they still have like some rights to your music and shit, especially if you don't own your masters. And once they see they can make more money off your death than you being alive, they're like, well, shoot, this is somewhat of a investment, really.
it's crazy how the streams go up after these people die.
Dude, like his song "Selfish."
Yes.
It was number one right after the day after he died. It was the number one on the platform. It was number one on Apple Music, and I just find that real ironic. And
It's
the
crazy,
people who had a hand in that song or whatever,
Mhm.
they got paid a lot of money the day after he died. You know what
For
I
real.
mean? Everything is based around money in this world, and it's sick. And that's another point I want to get at, bro. These influencers, bro, especially influencers in the black community, they're just guiding us in the wrong direction.
Yeah, bro.
And really, I feel like the black community is the only community that look at these influencers and celebrities as like gods or just leaders, when they're not leaders at all.
No, they're not. They're not whatsoever. It's like I feel like the black community is in this like revolving door where like kids grow up, they don't have real role models because their dads are out of the picture, and or their parents are not, in a stable household or a stable relationship. So then they turn to somebody else. But can you blame them because they're kids, right?
Yeah.
But then when they grow up and they become aware, they're so ingrained in it that they have no interest in looking somewhere else. And then the people who have made it, because they have so much money, they have no interest in trying to change the narrative, because what's got them there has been to basically dilute the black community with poison.
Yeah.
Whether it's music, entertainment, whatever, because it sells. So even when they become aware that this stuff is bad for us, they're gonna double down on it because they getting all this money.
Yeah, and they honestly don't care. Like the way an area they say, like Little Dirk.
Yeah,
Dirk,
bro.
he they get rich through the music, and they come up through gang violence. Like shit, the streets violent out there, bro.
Yeah, bro.
It's really a war out there, and they come up right, and they once they make it out these certain situations, they just want to flex and just show you like,
Yeah.
I made it, but they just going about it wrong, bro. I just feel like excuse my language, but they just shit on everybody else in my
Nah, bro,
opinion,
go for it.
and they don't give back to their own communities. Like the block he came up from, O Block, just got took back. I just got what they call that, but it was basically demolished. Like
Seriously?
they took the buildings down, bro. Like you couldn't even,
Wow.
you making all this money, but you're not even investing back into your own communities
I mean,
and hoods. The
exactly.
place that you made it out from, so other people can make it out too.
Exactly. They made that mug like a tourist attraction, but put no money into renovating it to make it an actual like living space for people. It was just like people would like talk about it like it was Disneyland or something like that because they saw it in a song or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, you trying to go vacation to like a hood,
Yeah.
especially one that ain't even been touched up by the people who came from there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, come on now. And it's just so blatant how it happens, but we just keep getting stuck in it.
But you know, I wanted to get into this when I came on the podcast. I feel like everything is just a strategic strategy to keep us in this never-ending cycle.
It is. It's a game, and they're winning.
And what I mean by that, like, if you really sit back and process and just see reality for what it is and look around, black people, let me just try to paint a picture for you. We're literally on a treadmill with TV screens around us, with like VR glasses on our eyes, and we're just jogging in place. And what I mean jogging in place, we're working these jobs and being a slave, and the TVs are showing like temporary desires that we put our money into.
Yeah.
And do you know, black people, we own less than 1% of all the land in America,
I believe it.
and it drastically went down. Like in the 1900s, this blew my mind. We owned more land in the 1900s than we do now, bro.
Seriously?
Yeah, and I was reading up on it, and it was like white people, they strategically bullied and lynched and just threatened to kill our farmers to give up their land. And you know, in the 1900s, they didn't care. They weren't gonna do anything about that then.
Yeah,
the police
of course
didn't
not.
care.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was one of their strategic strategies. Like, think about this: black people, we don't manufacture anything.
No.
We don't own any land. We have no control over our own future,
Basically, yeah.
dude. So what I feel like what happens is, we were once slaves, and they've integrated us into their society. But when I say integrated, it's really manipulation, because they have us living amongst them like we're equal, even though we have the same amount of freedom now. But manipulation, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
I believe in cause and effect. If you do this certain thing or put people in a certain situation to breed these kinds of people, you're still at fault, bro.
Exactly, yeah.
And they have us living amongst them as we're equals, when we're really not, because they manipulate us. Even the Lil Durk situation, I saw a picture of him wearing like on social media, they post pictures in all this designer, and of course it's endorsements, but they pay him for his image to reach our people, because we look up to them as gods. So to reach our people, they dress them, the influencers, in their clothes to make them more richer, if that makes sense. And that's really what they do with a lot of stuff. Black people, we are really like a sleeping giant, if that makes sense. And what's crazy is we own less than 1% of all the land in America. We're only 13% of America, but yet we're the number one consumer. So that means,
which is crazy, bro.
Dude, crazy.
crazy.
We're the number
bro.
one consumer. So that means we are constantly fed through the media, of course, just temporary material. Yeah. And black people, we feel so low, and we feel so worthless as a whole, that when we do buy these material things, it makes us feel better. It makes us feel like we did something.
Yeah.
Oh, he got a Benz. Oh, he's wearing Marc Jacobs. Oh, he has on a Miri jeans.
Exactly.
He has on designer.
Yeah.
He's really doing something. When the rich billionaires, they don't give a fuck about that shit.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Straight up. And I'm so serious. Like, what you're saying is literally the epitome of what I've tried to do for the past year and a half, is to make that known. But the issue is that, like, you ever been in a position where you had a spending problem? Like, you would just get paid, you would spend your money. That wouldn't make you want to look at your bank account, because you don't want to see the ugly of all these transactions leaving that mug.
Yep.
That's basically how I view the black community, in the sense that we got so much ugly. And I don't say that in a negative connotation, or I mean, it kind of does sound negative, but our people are not ugly. That's not what I'm saying, because I know people like to take that out of context.
Yeah,
there's so much stuff that we do as a result of just like decades and decades of us being manipulated, right? That it's ingrained in us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that part of it is ugly, but we do it so much, we don't want to look at it and come face to face with it. But that's the only way to grow from it. So like, it's funny, because I got an email yesterday calling me a bigot.
Bigotry, fascist, racist.
They don't like what you post, huh?
Yeah, bro. So I'm like, so I'm I was like doing homework, and I got a notification on my phone. I'm like, what the? I'm like, I had to double back real quick. I'm like,
What he say me for?
and I'm like, if you look at what it is that I'm saying, it comes off as harsh, but that's because the coddling doesn't work. If you like try to like be real, like aware of people's feelings, in a sense, it goes over their head.
Yeah.
So, but what I've noticed is that when black people do try to come up and speak out against, like, basically the culture that we tolerate, that has kind of put us in this trap.
Yeah.
They're called bigots. They're called Uncle Toms. They're called sellouts because they're defending the white man, or whatever the case may be. And I'm like,
they don't want to be held accountable.
Exactly. And that's the first step to getting out of this stuff, is people have to realize that they can have more for themselves. Yeah. Black people can have more for themselves.
Yeah, we most definitely can.
Exactly.
Dude, if we the number one consumer, we spend trillions on bullshit every year.
So we got the freaking money coming in to be able to, but we just put it in the wrong places because we've been manipulated for so long. So coming face to face with that ugly, you can then accept the fact that, yes, it's a reality, but now we can take the steps to move forward and get better. But we can't do that if you have black people, because the black community has very little to no leaders. Yeah. Athletes, freaking music artists.
Let me speak on that, actually. So back in like the 1900s, when we did have a lot of leaders, good leaders out there. I'm talking Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali. I'm talking Martin Luther King.
Yeah, of course.
It was like, I was reading about this. So there was like some documents in the FBI library or whatever, where it said they strategically watched and surveillance and just discredited all of our leaders and killed all of our leaders, bro.
Yeah,
so where we had no one to look at besides these imposters, I call them, because they're sellouts, bro. Really, I'm talking about all these influencers, bro.
Yeah,
they're
bro.
sellouts to our community. They literally, they don't know the influence they have, so I can't really hold them accountable. But my definition of sell your soul is you let these white companies who are already rich pay you to put clothes on you to reach your influence, which is the same color as you, of course. Most of the time, I'm talking to like reach your followers, basically. And they know whatever you wear, your followers are gonna do, bro. So they're gonna go buy that same shit you buying, and that shit's expensive as hell.
Exactly.
That's why we're the number one consumer, because we are investing money into these already rich white brands, making them richer, bro.
Yeah.
When you can be wearing black-owned businesses, clothing and stuff like that, and just, or you just simply wear your own clothing, bro.
I mean,
That's how
go
I
to
feel.
Walmart, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Like who cares?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's so crazy because I look at like some of these influencers, and when I call them out, it ain't necessarily because I dislike them, but I don't approve of like how they go about their business. LeBron James is one. I love LeBron James as a player, but the amount of times that I've heard that man talk about oppression and this and that, and then the next commercial I see is of AT&T. He's on an AT&T commercial right now.
Yep.
Guarantee you AT&T is probably
That
ran
money.
by a white person, if I'm not mistaken. And they got a lot of money. He was doing a commercial for this like massage gun or something like that. Really, really expensive piece of machinery.
Yeah.
I looked up who the owner was. He's ran by a white man. So I'm like, you got to understand that. And this is what I'm saying. And this is where all the bigot and racist and all this stuff comes from. All this stuff about racism, about homophobia, about all this stuff. I'm not saying it don't exist, but it's a distraction.
Yeah.
It is. It's a distraction, because if they really felt that way, they wouldn't support these companies that are ran by white people. If they really thought that America was so racist and so oppressive, they wouldn't be taking the white man's money. They wouldn't be promoting these businesses that are ran by white people. They wouldn't be doing that.
But think about it. It goes back to what we said earlier. It's the way we're bred. They put us in these situations where we think money is everything, when money is not, bro.
Yeah.
And they know that.
Look at Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter was a social justice organization turned into a corporation.
LOL.
The amount of money that has been donated to them, and the amount of money that they've taken and went and bought houses in white neighborhoods. The leaders of the freaking Black Lives Matter movement, I don't even like calling it a movement because it's a business. They have taken the money and they have moved to white neighborhoods. Why is that? They're not going to freaking Inglewood. They're not going to Compton. They're not going in. No, they're going wherever the whitest place is, because they got the best houses, the best neighborhoods, all this stuff like that. Rappers, they're not sending their kids to public school. They're sending them to private school. But then they're going to rap and go to the city real quick for a quick video. Then they're going to go back to their $2 million mansion. And we're all here consuming it like they really care about us, and they just want to put us on game and what's the coolest stuff and all this stuff like that. It's absolutely not. And once you recognize that all of this stuff is just a distraction to keep you in that, like, in that cycle,
Mind,
once you realize that, then you're free. That don't mean you're gonna be like up here financially immediately, but at least you got the peace of mind, and you got the clarity to know that you can now move really however you want to, because you're not a slave to that, bro. I can't tell you the last time I didn't bought a pair of shoes, bro.
Dude, these about 3 years old right here on my feet.
Same, bro. These mugs, I didn't just kept them clean, bro.
Yep.
Got them and then just kept them clean. I'm like, cause like that stuff really don't matter.
Don't matter at all, and they make it seem like it do. See, let me go back to this fact. Like, when we do have leaders that come up and they start speaking the right language, you know what I mean, and waking everybody up. Because like I said, the black people as a whole were like a sleeping giant, bro.
Yeah.
They strategically take them out.
Yeah.
With our own people, to where we see that and we're like, oh shit, we're killing ourselves.
I mean,
I thought black lives really did matter. It don't matter to you. Like, let me just give, for instance, Nipsey Hussle. Dude, great influencer. Like, he was the one, he was telling our people, stay independent, don't sign with these labels. He was the people telling the people, wear your own clothing. He was bringing he was changing gang culture where it originated at. He was changing Crips and the Bloods. He brought them together. Him and YG were doing songs together and shit.
Straight up.
He was doing so much stuff for the community, and he owned the store in his own community that he came up in.
Yeah,
He was
bro,
one of
went back to
Nipsey
his
Hussle was one of them
community, bro.
ones, and he died in front of that same store.
Yes, bro.
And I don't know what really happened to him, but from my point of view and my perspective, anybody who decodes the matrix and figures things out and learns how to become rich, and they try to wake anybody else up, they strategically get taken out.
Yeah.
And anybody forming unity, they can't have that, because once you form unity, you become strong. And black people, we don't have any unity now. That's why
we hate each
we're
other.
so dispersed now, and we don't have any control over ourselves because we don't have unity. And once we have unity, they look at us like a threat, like they did in the 1960s. You know what
bro.
I mean?
Straight up.
Once we have control over ourselves, we become a threat. And really, bro, I be thinking like, yeah, we live in America, but like we say, none of this really matters. Yeah, we live in America and we follow these rules, but why? Because we have to. Why is that? Oh, because it's written on a piece of paper. That piece of paper doesn't matter. Really, the Constitution. And in my eyes, bro, the Constitution is really, really something that wasn't even made for us, especially with all the amendments and shit. We got to have an amendment to protect our rights. If we're already citizens, why do we need amendments to protect our rights?
That is
so.
wild.
In my eyes, we're still slaves. So let me put it like this: white people, they have a unity. They move as one. We don't. That's the biggest difference. And when you move as one, what I mean, they have all these institutions. They have militaries. They have. They manufacture things. They have land.
Yeah.
They have it's so many things they have. They have institutions to fund their businesses and all that type of thing.
Exactly,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? We don't have that. So we have no control or just no way of really protecting what we own or what we go out and get, if you know what I mean.
Exactly, yeah. And it's hard to make that because it's hard to form that unity within the black community because like I said earlier, anytime you try to step outside the bounds, now you're a sellout. When as a black person, I'm not a fan of the culture that we tolerate today.
No,
I'm not. But you say that and you're a sellout. And me saying that, I'm trying to open my eyes to what's better out there, and then hopefully other black people see that we don't have to be, we don't, like, even though the people who made it, they're still being controlled to kind of move us in a certain direction. We don't have to do that, right? We don't have to consume this stuff. But it's just I don't know, maybe we just feel like there's nothing else to do, right? We can't amass that, so we'll just be fine just buying the jeans or watching the videos or buying the CD or the tape. Not CDs don't exist anymore. But buying the records and doing all this stuff like that because we don't see more for ourselves. So I'm like, and that's unfortunate, but that's the culture that we tolerate. Even within the music itself, it's all about killing and selling dope. The men who are rapping are degrading women. The women who are rapping are not only now degrading themselves, but degrading men as well. Men don't need women. Women don't need men. Black people just hate each other, but we only care about each other when a white person do something to us.
And think about this, bro. I be thinking real deep. Like, I think the only reason they do that is because they're told to. Like I say, these influencers, they're actors. They're nothing but puppets.
Yeah.
Like, when you sign a deal with these labels and they pay you all this money, money that I think they pay them.
Yeah.
They tell them what they can and cannot do because that's inside the contract. And we're going to tell you what you can and cannot drop. We're going to tell you what you can and cannot say. Yeah. We're going to tell you what kind of music you can put out.
Amen.
And all these labels are mostly owned by white people, bro.
Yeah.
So we signed to the white man.
Basically.
And he tells us what we can and cannot say to our people when we have the influence. So we have no leader. We have no real leader. That's why it's still the same way. And we're letting the white man tell us what music we can listen to because once that goes in our ear, in my opinion, bro, I don't care what nobody say, music is spiritual.
Yeah, it is. Like, it is, bro. You're not even lying, bro.
Like, when you listen to a song and it touches your soul, the wrong shit is touching our soul right now.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing, too. It's so... The design of the world is crazy and how stuff goes about it. And... like, if you look at my playlist, and like I said, I have to preface what I'm saying is not a knock on the black community. But, I mean, it's just, I'm just being real. You look at my playlist, it's the whitest music you ever find, ever. Simply because, like, maybe around, like, 2020, when the pandemic hit, I just kind of reevaluated my life because I feel like that was a hard year for everybody. Like, I'm inside all the time and I'm like, by myself and whatnot. So then I just started to think, and I just felt really, really bad that year. And I just did some self-reflection and just wonder, like, why do I feel like this? Like, I already know what the world circumstances are, but now that I got time to myself, I don't like myself for real. A lot of it had to do with what I was putting into my freaking head.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to the, like, it even comes down to the music. I'll be in my car and I'm listening to my playlist, and it's just the same stuff every single time. And I'm like, bro, I just purged my entire playlist, and I didn't purposefully just put a whole bunch of white people on my playlist just to spite the black artists I already had on there. I just would listen to a song that just so happened to be made by a white person, and I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm running through a bed full of flowers and like smelling roses and stuff like that. I'm like, but then I turn on like some, like not all black artists, like
that's not what we're saying,
exactly.
We're talking about as a whole, mostly of them.
Exactly, in the
them
general sense, like because I got black artists on my playlist that that talk about some real stuff that I love, but in the general sense, I had to purge a lot of the black artists on my playlist because they all were talking about the same stuff just in a different way, but it was all vulgar and it was all coming into my head, and I just felt horrible. I didn't feel right. And I'm like, it's crazy that that's what we tolerate. We think that that's okay. I'm like, all these songs that's coming out, I still don't know what a munch is. Yeah. What the hell is a munch?
Dude, I don't know. What is P?
I don't know. I still don't know what is Gunna. What is that? What is
Please
P?
tell me, bro.
Bro, I saw LeBron talking about that. He's like, LeBron got some show on HBO called The Shop, and he was on that mug talking about, I guess somebody said something. He's like, that's pushing P. I'm like, LeBron, do you even know what that means, bro? Like, what does that mean? You tell me.
Because I don't know what it means. But the shit sounds so good, and I know it's a vibe, so I'm pushing P.
I don't know what that means, but everybody walking around in a ski mask talking about they pushing P. Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
They got this man Shiesty. He influenced that.
Yes, bro. Everybody got a ski mask on,
bro. Let me
go
back to the music, man. See, with the music literally programs us to think in certain ways. And once you open your eyes and see that, like to say you had the time to sit with yourself and you say you don't like yourself, and your soul, it started resonating to you like damn, this music, it's not it. Because you had time to see that. But the music programs us to think in certain ways. And say if you had a child, right? And of course, you are your child's role model or influence, and they're gonna follow everything that you do. And you have a child, and of course you got to take them places, ride around with them, and every time you ride around with them, you're listening to that type of music. You're involuntarily programming your child to think in certain ways before they even have a chance to block it out.
Yeah.
And
kids don't even got a chance. It's like they are so programmed, and I'm like, even now, everything is they're in their phones by the time they're 2. Just collecting information.
But let me go back to this number one consumer thing. We're 13% of America, yet we're the number one consumer in America.
That makes me want to throw
Do
up,
that?
bro.
That just sounds crazy. We're literally on a plantation, bro. Yeah. We're slaves just pouring and dumping money into their institution. Like, I feel like to get out of this, we have to play their game the right way, bro. And what I mean by that, we have to literally take accountability for what we're doing. Like, dude, we got people we got scammers who got PPP loans for $20,000.
Yeah, bro.
And you know what they did with it? Gave it right back to the white man.
Yeah.
After they got it from them, they spent all that money on clothing and stuff. Imagine if all that PPP money was put into our communities and hoods that you say you claim that nobody owns. None of your family owns that house that you live on, yet you're willing to die for that street.
Exactly, which is crazy. But the sad part about it is slavery 200 years ago, if you tried to escape it, you got killed because like they saw you running away from that mug and they chased after you. Now, as a collective, if we escape this mental and economic slavery, we have a choice. Now, the unfortunate part back in like the 20th century is that if one person did try to rise up, they would take them out. Nowadays, if somebody tries to rise up, they'll cancel you. I don't know. Have you heard of Andrew Tate?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Now, everybody wanted to claim him as a misogynist, which I'm not saying I agree with everything he said.
No.
But if you look at a lot of the videos that he did make, it was about how to get out of this matrix and how to ascend to be a better version of yourself. They cancel him on every platform over the span of a weekend and try to label him a misogynist as a poster child for it.
They discredit him. They discredited him strategically.
Yes,
because he was speaking about things that they didn't want getting out. And now anybody who didn't listen to Andrew Tate won't go listen to him now because they view him as this
misogynist.
thing.
Yeah. Like, why would they ban him on Instagram? If you go to his Instagram, all it is cars, money, boats. How's that break in terms of service? How does that call for a ban? It don't. But if you ban him over the course of a weekend on all platforms, nobody's gonna look into that. They're gonna be like, dang, bro is a real misogynist. He needs to be gone. They're not even gonna question it. Think about that. No one questioned why this man was banned on Instagram, on Twitter, where he barely posts. This man was banned on Uber. He was banned from Airbnb. He was banned. He was taken away from his bank. He had to switch banks. Cause I'm like, bro, it is in our face that is happening, where someone has gained so much popularity by like talking about how you escape this whole thing and how you become your own person. Now, in the black community, like I said, the benefit that we have is the solidarity when it comes to white people blatantly coming after us, so to speak. Like if there's blatant police brutality, black people band together like it's nobody's business. But then that goes away the next day when the story not hot anymore, and then we just go back to killing each other. Imagine if we had that unity in terms of trying to get away from this economic and mental slavery.
Let me go back to this real quick. So, you know, I said we were making trillions and shit. I said how we gotta play their game to make it out. So instead of investing all our trillions of dollars because we're the number one consumer back into them, we can invest it back into us by creating non-for-profit organizations that the government has to fund, because rich people, the way they get out of taxes is by funding these non-for-profit organizations. And we're the number one consumer, and we basically fund these rich and white companies and brands and keep them alive, but they're not funding back into our community. They're funding back into their non-for-profit organizations and businesses. So what we have to do, we have to create our own so we can fund our own, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they can fund ours too, because if we're spending trillions into them and they invest back into our non-for-profit organizations for our community to clean the communities up, that's a form of like investing back into ourselves, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I feel like what the average, not average, I won't say that, what a black kid, what he grows up seeing, vacant houses, just trash on the streets, just nasty.
Yeah.
Compared to what the white kid sees when he grows up is a whole different kind of consciousness.
Exactly.
It'll put you in a whole different state of mind, because when you take that black kid and let him ride through where the white kid grew up, he's gonna be like, oh, these are some nice houses. Oh, I never been somewhere like this before. And the white kid's gonna say the same thing, but they're just on different sides of a perspective, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that plays a lot, because that black kid, he's gonna grow up feeling worthless.
Exactly. And it's unfortunate because, and this is where I start to feel bad for white people. I feel like the average white person, they get blamed, they get vilified for being white. Half the people in this country just kind of mosey through life. They're not focused on the matrix and they wake up, they go to work, they come home, and then they go to sleep.
They live the American dream.
Exactly. And as a result, I feel like, and this is what I say about this is when black people band together. Black people either band together to demonize the average white person for being white, or they band together to demonize the average black person for trying to tell them that, hey, this ain't it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate for white people because, like for a lot of, I've known a lot of white people. Half my family's white. There are good white people out there. Like, I mean, I know that that's news to a lot of people, but there are. Like,
Dude,
not
there
all white
are.
people are bad. So it's unfortunate that we now live in a country where, like, it is almost like a crime to be white in certain cases. You can't say nothing.
Can't say
You
certain
can't
things.
move any kind of way you
Nah,
want
it's-
anymore because because you're racist or this or that. And I'm like, that is not like, this is such a weird country because nobody cares about equality. I said it in the last episode I made. This country is playing a weird game where white people were here and now black people, and not all, I always have to do this because I'm not making blanket statements in the general sense. Black people are trying to flip it in a way that they can, and or in a way that we can. And what I've noticed is that speech, black people could say anything that they want. I could say anything I want. I could say
Any
I could say whatever I want. A white person can't come in here and say anything that they want.
almost like he's the one that's oppressed, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what starts it all. Once you lose this, then they got you, right? So I don't even think no one is interested, or very little people, or very few people are interested in getting us here. People are interested in flipping that mug. So
Yeah,
it was
let
your
you-
turn.
Now
Now,
it's our turn, and you're
now
gonna
it's-
feel what I felt.
but you want to know what the crazy part is that we are kidding ourselves when we think that we've got it. Because when white people were the top dog, if you will, in this country, they had everything.
Yep.
All we got is to
Literally.
ensure that a white person don't say the N-word. We got Juneteenth, and white people got to kind of, they kind of got to celebrate us on that day, and then we're good. So we've been so desensitized to thinking that we can have more for ourselves that we see it as wins.
Yep.
When we get white people to not be able to say the N-word, or we get Juneteenth as a holiday, or we get Black History Month as the shortest month of the year, and once a year, and then the rest of the year we're talking about what is technically white history, but all history is American history in this country, but we don't see it that way.
Yep.
This is what we get excited about,
They give a
and
give
we
us
try
a
to
Black
say
History
that
Month.
exactly, and we try to
that's insulting,
bro, there's no white history month, but that's
Dude.
because they see white history as just American history. Black history is a separate, but we put it in the shortest month of the year. So we get these little wins, and it holds us over. And I'm like we kid ourselves, because white people can't say anything they want. Black people, we can say anything that I promise you, we can say anything that we want whatsoever.
bro.
Did you see what happened to Anthony Edwards?
Anthony Ebb, no, what happened to him?
So I made a video about it, I think like a couple of days ago. Anthony Edwards, he went on Instagram and he filmed some gay dudes, and he was like, look at these, and posted it, and then he got fined $40,000.
Oh, he got fined for it.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Look at
a
Myers-
white man. If he go ahead.
But that's the thing, I literally going where you went. I've said that before. What if a white man said it? And then people will come in, oh, that's a hypothetical, you don't really know. No. Myers Leonard. You remember, you know who Myers Leonard is?
Yeah, bro, he was on the Trailblazers.
Yeah. And then he went to the Heat. So when he was on the Heat last April, he was playing Call of Duty on a live stream.
Yeah.
And he got shot at in the game, and he called the player who shot at him a kike. I've never heard the word
I
kike
don't even
before.
know what that is.
Apparently it's a Jewish slur. Not a racial slur, it's a slur for Jewish people. Immediately after he said it, he got a phone call, which I believe was like somebody close to him letting him know that he messed up. He immediately got off the live stream. He was fined $50,000 by the NBA. He was forced to attend cultural and diversity training. He got suspended from the Miami Heat for 1 week. He got traded from the Miami Heat because they felt like he wasn't a good fit for the locker room anymore. And then he got cut from the team he went to, which was the OKC Thunder, because obviously they felt like he wasn't a good fit for the locker room anymore. All of that happened within the span of a week because this white man said one slur. Technically, Anthony Edwards said two slurs. He said queer, and then he said the N-word. They only focused on queer, but he said the N-word as well.
He was actually recording somebody.
And he recorded it, could have reviewed it. You know, we played games before. You say something on the game because something unfavorable happens, and something slips out. Don't mean you're anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
doesn't
you're
mean you're
just playing the
racist.
game, bro.
Exactly. Not that don't make it right, but that allows you to like bestow grace upon him because you know what the situation is.
Yeah.
This man Anthony Edwards got fined $10,000 less, and all he had to do was issue an apology. He's playing preseason basketball right now. So black people, we have gotten the white people to the point where they can't say nothing, but we think that is a win. Number one, it's not, because that's just playing tit for tat. Number two, when you look at it, as you keep saying, we still giving to them like it's nothing, and we don't even realize it, but they do.
Dude, the average black kid grows up thinking he's gonna make it to the NBA.
That's what I thought. Thought it was LeBron.
Shit, me too. Shit, I really believed that.
I'm so serious, bro.
I really believed I was gonna be like the Kyrie in the NBA.
I did too, bro.
At 5'9".
3 seconds on the clock. I'm playing basketball.
Yes, bro. I was 5'7". I didn't even crack 100 pounds till my junior year.
And there's millions of other kids believing in the same dream, and you think if you work harder than the next, you're gonna make it, which is not the case, because it's really about who you know in that shit.
I mean,
it's really about who you know in everything. Really,
these dudes are McDonald's All-Americans at 15. How's that possible?
Don't even make sense to it.
How's that possible? So I'm like,
Knowing college coaches already, and they're not even in high school yet.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me.
bro, I hadn't seen so many middle schoolers with like scholarship looks.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I had to get off Instagram, because I'm like looking at Baller's Life, and they'll be like, Imani Bates, 6'7", 12-year-old with 87 Division I scholarships. I'm like, bro, what am I doing with my life? But then I'm like, is that even like realistic? Like, there's got to be something that I'm missing right there. I'm like, there's no way.
Dude, life is not fair. Everybody don't get the same chance.
No.
Everybody is not dealt the same cards. And that's really the sad thing about it. And what's crazy is everything you said about what was his name? Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
If you say that to so a lot of black people, they're gonna be offended by that.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
email that I got calling me a bigot because
It
it
was-
was on that video.
And what's crazy is they don't even really care what the truth is anymore. And that's what kind of scares me. They don't really care. They don't really care like about logic or facts. They don't look at what's really happening. They just, okay, he said this, we're gonna get him canceled because he's white.
Yeah,
Wow, you did something, bro.
exactly. Like, congratulations, you're still in the exact same position that you were
Nah,
before he
for
got
real.
canceled.
But I feel like another reason that we're continuing to stay in these never-ending, revolving cycles of just pain and suffering is because everybody like I said earlier, everybody want to step on somebody else, and that's really the wrong way to go about life. And like I was saying earlier, the older you get, you see that the money doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you know.
People think that material things is what matter. That's what they got us believing. And we got to get people out of that mind state. And it's not going to be easy because that's their lifestyle.
Yeah,
Buy expensive clothes and go club for the weekend or the whole week.
I mean,
And that's partying, drinking your life away, putting those toxic. Dude, you want to know what's crazy? There's a liquor store down there on every
yes, bro.
in the black corner.
It's a liquor store, it's a Boost Mobile, and it's an abandoned church. And a
Abandoned church, that's
Popeye's
a good
chicken,
one.
bro. Everywhere, bro. And I'm like it's so blatant, like how the programming is. Like, we don't even see it. Like, Popeye's chicken it tastes good, but that stuff is so bad for you, bro.
Yeah.
It's not good for you. But like,
Programmed to eat that shit, huh?
yeah, but then I'm like, it's so crazy because like something will happen in the world and people will be like, they'll be like, well, like some new disease will come out. Let's just say hypothetically that something happened in 2020 and something came from China and it got here. I'm not saying it did happen, but let's just say it did, and somehow, some way, the whole country got shut down. I don't know. That's just speculation.
Yeah.
But it'll get here and they'll be like, well, it's 2 times as more likely to affect black people or whatever. I'm like, what? Is it racist now? Or
funny.
maybe is it that common knowledge is if you are out of shape or overweight or have pre-existing health conditions,
Or eat certain things.
exactly, then maybe you're at a higher risk. And maybe it looks like that because there's a Popeyes and a Church's on every single street corner in the black community.
Putting all
And
that
yes,
grease in
maybe
their
that was
system.
perpetuated by the white man, but we sure as hell don't care because the lines are full. Do you know that one Popeyes is by the cars up there?
But dude, there is a Popeyes by the
Yeah, they
that
had
one.
to put a barricade into the entrance of the drive-through
Yeah,
because
so
people
can
would
go.
be in lines out onto the street.
And it was holding up traffic.
Yes, that's insane.
Yeah.
Clearly, we don't care because we keep going. We don't care that the white man freaking put that there.
Like, I wonder who's the owner of Popeyes. I'm about to look it up right now.
I bet you $1 billion it's a white man. Yeah,
And we go there every day.
they had to put a barricade, bro. A barricade on the freaking entrance to the parking lot.
All right, too much to read right now. it didn't give me what answer, so I'm like, all right, we just.
I just put it up. And
Yeah, because we on here right now. But
I mean,
we can get into that later though.
Yeah.
Next time I come back, we're gonna have the facts.
I mean,
But
but it's crazy, bro. Like that's insane. So I'm like, here's the deal. And this is what I've told any black person that I've talked to is anytime that I'm talking about this stuff, it's not because I just revel and I just take pride and joy in just digging into the community that I represent. I'm a black person. Why would I want to sit up there and dog black people?
Yeah.
But I am not white. Therefore, what I do is a representation of the black community. Therefore, what I speak is on behalf of black people. I understand what white people have done, and I understand what some white people are still doing today. I'm only responsible for me and what I can influence the black community to do. If we take accountability for ourselves, yes, they might put a Popeyes on every street corner. Don't mean we got to eat it.
yeah,
That's taking accountability. That's saying, hey, we see what y'all doing. We don't have to be down with it, right? And then also recognizing what's going on. That's those white people. The white lady Jane who lives next door to you, she didn't put that Popeyes there, so there's no reason for you to demonize her because she's white. She's just minding her own business. But that dude up there, yeah, like oblivious to it.
this just came to my mind. It's kind of like somewhat off topic, but like I've been seeing a lot more black-owned restaurants now, and people are saying go support them. Black people, we don't manufacture anything, so where are they getting their product? You know what I mean? Just because they say it's black-owned.
Just because when you walk in there, it's a black person at the counter.
It's a black general manager, a
Yeah.
black person that owns the place. Where is he getting his product from?
Yeah.
Oh, is it still black-owned then?
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
manufacture your own goods. Even black clothing lines. We don't manufacture any cotton that I know of here in the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting your stuff from probably, I don't know, China or somewhere. Who knows where you get your stuff from, but black people, we don't manufacture anything like that.
No, they don't. Freaking it's so funny anytime like LeBron has gotten into like beef or something like that and everybody getting on him for his shoes.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got people over there in freaking China or Taiwan or something like that putting these LeBron 20s together for like 75 cents an hour.
Look at this picture, bro. This is the endorsement I keep talking about with Lil Durk.
Mark
They
Jacobs.
literally dressed this man up as Mark Jacobs. And
From
Mark
head to
Jacobs
toe,
is
bro.
Is the brand. He's a white man. He owns it.
Yeah,
They literally dressed him up in his clothes.
because Mark
and
Jacobs,
used his face.
Yeah.
They didn't even show his tattoos or anything.
Yeah.
They just got his face in there.
Mark
That's-
Jacobs wasn't going to put them clothes on and take a picture because
No.
nobody would have cared.
That's literally the definition of selling your soul right there, bro.
Yeah,
Just to reach our people with his influence.
because they know people going to buy that stuff.
Yeah, bro.
They gonna
and
go-
it's expensive as hell.
Bro, Mark Jacobs, bro. I keep seeing girls with this tote bag, the Mark Jacobs tote bag. I'm like, you realize you could have went to the Dollar Tree and got a bag that could have put your stuff in it.
It was crazy. All the white brands that they wear, like Mike Amiri. That's the guy's name, bro.
Yeah.
Like
You
you're
wearing
literally
somebody's
his-
name, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Like he damn near like you're wearing his name and symbol like he owns you or something.
This shirt, bro, is plain. It ain't got
Plain
nobody's
white
name
tee,
on it,
bro.
bro. Straight up. And I'm like, that's like you don't gotta go to that extreme, but like it's
No, you
always,
don't, but-
bro. It's always something new.
But
That's
why
like,
do it have to be that expensive to reach our people?
bro,
Like
straight up.
we're literally being pimped out for everything we
Yes,
get,
bro. Straight up. Straight
They
up.
give us $15 an hour, and time is money, and time is very valuable. You could be spending time with your people, but they give us $15 an hour.
Think about that,
Yeah.
bro. Black people, we spend 60 years working to constantly buy stuff we don't need.
Yeah.
And then we get to retire when we're not capable of doing nothing, because by that time you done ate so much Popeyes, you got diabetes,
Yep.
and you got an amputated leg, and
Dying
you got to
at
take
early age,
insulin.
heart
It is
attacks.
insane how. But then that's the thing too. And when I say impressive, I'm not saying that as a positive. I'm just saying it's impressive how effective the plan has worked. How effective they have been at controlling us, basically.
Super.
They couldn't do it then because it got abolished in 1865. Then it went to the prison system, where we're going to arrest you for jaywalking, and then we're going to make you work for us so that you can recover our economy, because that's all it was. Everything's money. Slavery, while people want to talk about how horrible it was in a humanitarian sense, of course it was, but slavery was an economic thing. You put people on plantations, they work for free. Slave owners, they don't got to pay them nothing, so they reap the 100% profit from anything that is produced. That got abolished, derailed the South's economy. You have the prison system now, where, like I said, they'll arrest you for jaywalking, they'll arrest you for looking at somebody funny.
They're gonna arrest you for anything.
Exactly. And then they'll put you in prison, and when you're in prison, you got to do what they say, because
You don't have a choice, really.
exactly, because in the 13th Amendment, as you said earlier, they made an amendment for black people to be free, but in the 13th Amendment, it says that basically it's illegal to enslave someone unless you have been convicted of a crime and you are in prison. That's the loophole, so to speak. So they just start arresting black people for the pettiest stuff ever. They get them back in there. Then once that gets addressed, now it's Jim Crow. You got laws in society that openly discriminate against black people. Black people break those rules. Technically, they just broke the law, even though it's unlawful to discriminate.
Yep.
They put them back in those systems. Now that the civil rights movement happened and that has been fought off and that's no longer tolerated, now it is just it's so under the rug, it's insane. Like, it's literally right here. That's what's happening to us right here. And then when a black person finally sees the light and they try to tell other black people, all hell breaks loose. And once again, we just all hate each other.
Yep.
We can't be united because, I mean, that's our fault.
Yep. And the people who do have the influence, they're not even in control of their own lives.
Yeah.
They're controlled by labels.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this, bro. I'm gonna say this so people don't get me wrong. I love America, but I don't like the government, because
Oh, no, yeah,
at the
I
end of the
feel-
day, they're the ones who are controlling the narrative, and they view us as a threat. As long as we're trying to better our communities and better ourselves, I'm gonna say black power. As long as we're trying to better ourselves, we're a threat to them. And that's why I go back to say, we're all slaves to the system, white or black. But black people, we get the short hand of the stick. And like I keep saying, we own less than 1% of all the land in America, yet we're 13% of the land, yet we're the number one consumer. We're on a plantation, bro. Literally, we don't own shit.
And it sucks
It's
because
a lot
then
to think about.
we throw our lives away too. Black people make up 13% of the population, yet we commit 50% of about 50% of the crime in this country. And I was talking to somebody about it, and they're like, "Well, the data is skewed because black communities are more heavily policed or whatever." And and she had a point to a degree, but the number is still the number, right? Like, whether it's skewed or not, whether less cops were still in the community, that don't mean that we wouldn't have been committing those crimes still. We just wouldn't have been getting caught. And for white people, the argument she tried to make was that like maybe white people commit the same amount of crime. If they do, and I'm not saying this because I'm like trying to advocate for them, I'm just speaking facts. White people, there's more white people in the country. There's 40 million black people in this country. There's 230 million white people in this country. So clearly, if we were to commit about the same amount of crime in relation to our population size, that's not a shocker. But are those people who are living in these communities that are built up and that are really really nice, and that they got these nice jobs, and they got their country clubs, they got all this stuff like that. In their free time, are they really committing these crimes? Are they really doing that stuff? So we're throwing our lives away because our favorite rapper is doing it or portraying like he's doing it. Then he's going back to his white neighborhood and throwing his kids in private school. We throw our lives away because we think that that's cool. And the conflict that I have is that up until a certain point, you can't blame us. This is all we know. But after a certain point, once we have our eyes open,
once you gain the
we
knowledge,
just
you have to be
choose
held
not
accountable.
to, because you will be a sellout if you abstain from what black culture is. Like, I'm like, it's insane, but at some point we gotta blame ourselves, and people don't want to do that. You'll be 78 years old blaming the white man.
Yeah, that's crazy. And people, they don't want the knowledge. And what's crazy, I also like to think about this. The same way I said we can start these non-for-profit organizations to fund our communities, we can start these non-for-profit organizations to fund like these schools and shit, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
bro.
Like,
My goodness,
dude,
bro.
the schools, we get the lowest of the lows in these school systems. Like, I had the ability to, I was blessed with the ability to be able to go to a white elementary school, and I just seen how differently it was run than the black elementary school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when I went to the white elementary school, they were teaching us how to play the piano, how to play violins. They had like all these ceremonies and shit. We had the best food, bro. The best food. Like, I remember they were serving us pizza rolls and shit. Like,
Dang, bro.
Not saying that's the best food, but like
Better
we
than
had
what
good-
we had.
good
Yeah.
shit.
I mean,
And when I went to the black elementary school, it was a totally different thing, bro. Totally different ballgame. I don't even remember ever dressing up. Like, I remember I went to, and I remember they used to have like us dress up in costumes and shit for Halloween and shit like that, and walk around the school. It was just the school culture was heavy there, bro. And it was nice to experience that, because shoot, if I didn't get to experience that, I don't even know what I would be today, because I remember me being black going to the white school, I was somewhat behind, you know what I mean? And the only reason I got to be able to go to that because my mom, she was because you know my dad was on drugs, and my mom literally had to do everything on her own.
Yeah.
So I was going to that school somewhat like through a government program, so I was privileged kind of to go to that school. And the white teachers, they since I was behind, they would like take me out of class and show me how to write my
Yeah,
name
I
and
mean,
how to
straight
spell
up.
and how to read and
it's crazy,
all
bro.
that kind of shit.
I mean,
We don't have that kind of shit in the black
Nah, bro.
community, bro. These like I don't know what that school called, academy. I don't know. These black schools in the city, they're overpopulated. The teachers, they don't really give a
nah, bro.
they
just
don't
go
they
there.
don't get paid enough to care.
Yeah.
They're not trying to do any extra than they already do. And school culture is literally what you wear, and when you're in a school that has first graders all the way in from eighth graders in one building, it's not gonna be any like order, or you it's not gonna be controlled. Of course, you're gonna have a lot of fights in that school. Of course,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna be focused on school.
Our
or
high school
learning.
had like 1,500 kids or something like that. I felt like I saw a fight at lunch like every day or something like that. I think, and I'm so glad we got out when we did. I feel like I might have even heard talks about our school being like at risk for being unaccredited at a certain point. I think I heard something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Like,
Yeah, and now they got clear book bags and like all that stuff like that. I'm like they put all these resources into the book bags. The curriculum is probably still the same, if not worse. And I'm like, here's what I have to say about it. It's everybody's fault, and this is what I try to say, right? Like, if you, oh man, and it's so difficult to get that across because once again, it sounds like you're a sellout or whatever. But it don't even matter at this point. Like, who cares? It's everybody's fault. For like the white people who do have the power, who are so driven by money that they have used black people and black influencers to basically, as you said, pimp us out, it's their fault because that's horrible. Why would you do that? I mean, you got to be a really horrible person to do that. For the black people who see this money and they just can't get enough, it's one thing if you make it and you got enough money to last yourself, but you have so much money that you could last yourself over lifetimes. That means you got too much. You don't need all that. No. Yeah, you continue to make this type of music. You continue to do these endorsement deals. It's your fault. The teachers who aren't paid enough to really care, it's the school's fault for not pressing somebody above them to pay them. And for teachers, if you sign up for the job and you're not being an impact in these kids' life, is your fault. For the kids, the only people who aren't at fault are kids until they get to a certain age. Once they get to high school, a lot of it is their fault as well. So it's everybody's fault. And the one thing that I learned that I forgot who told it to me, but it was probably one of the most valuable things I could have ever learned, and it was about my relationship. No relationship should be 50-50. That's a lie. It shouldn't be 50-50. It shouldn't be 75-25. It shouldn't be 60-40. A relationship should be 100-100. And that goes for everything. The relationship between a student and a teacher needs to be 100-100. The relationship between white people and black people needs to be 100-100. The relationship between a man and a woman or partners or whatever needs to be 100-100. The relationship between police and the community, it needs to be 100-100. Everybody is so set on blaming other people for their F-ups or their screw-ups or for their lack in a certain area or for their ignorance or whatever the case may be. They are not interested in being 100% of themselves. That's why the world is in such a bad position, because everybody is blaming this person, blaming that person. If I hear one more black person say it's the white man's fault, you don't really know what you're saying. You're not talking about the white man, Mark Jacobs. You're talking about your freaking neighbor just because he's white. You hate him because he's white.
Because of his skin color. You're no different than him.
Exactly. You're no different than him. That makes you a racist. The amount of times that I heard black people can't be racist, please stop saying that. Black people can be racist. If you look up the definition of racism, yes, it says that it is typically done if it is against a minority or marginalized people, but it did not say only. Let's say Jamaica has a population that has more black people than white people. If a Jamaican person is racist to a white person in Jamaica, what are you going to call that? If they're not the minority in that country, what are you going to call that? That's racism. So I'm like, so everybody is at fault. And the fact that people don't want to give 100% of themselves to produce a better society, they're the cause for it. It's as simple as that. And we will continue to be in this revolving door until people wake up and say, you know what? I will take responsibility for myself because that's the only way I can give 100%. If you are so focused on yourself that you don't really see all the other BS going around, that is how you give 100% of yourself. But once people start to display that, you got to get them out of here. Now you can't openly take people out anymore. You got to cancel them. That's like the new version of it, right? Unless you got, like I said, unless you are one of these rappers or whatnot who can't stay away from freaking Roscoe's. If you're on the internet or you got a platform, you're talking about this stuff, they will just cancel you because they don't want you to know this.
Yep. Easy. And I respect that perspective. I mean, I respect that perspective because that's a fact, bro. Like, you got people on here who don't have any knowledge of what they're talking about, and they think their opinion matters when it really doesn't. You haven't even done the groundwork to do the research that you need to know to have an opinion on this certain topic, bro. Like, you haven't even given 100% to the research.
Exactly. That's so important. If you getting on this mug just talking a bunch of stuff just because you saw somebody else do it and they got views and they got money and they got all this stuff, you are once again doing a disservice to your community because all you're thinking about is views and money. You get views, you get money. You don't really care what you saying as long as that mug gets views. So I'm like, YouTube taking away this dislike button. I'm tired of seeing videos that are clickbaiting me because I don't know how many dislikes they got. That's what they be doing too, bro.
YouTube, you need to stop that,
bro. Like, come
and all
on,
this what do they call that? Like where they're trying to take down videos or like that. I don't know.
Like canceling?
Not canceling, but like
Censoring? Censorship.
Yes, I think that's what it's called. Like they're literally trying to block out videos that talk about something.
Censorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And, another thing I wanted to say, people don't know the difference between fact and opinion anymore because people don't do their own research. They just see what they see and they just soak that in and say, "Oh, okay, this is what I believe." Dude, come on, man, think for yourself.
Come on, that's the best name on the planet.
You hear me?
It comes in handy every time.
It resonates with everybody, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to think for themselves. You don't know yourself.
No, bro.
And really, I don't feel like you know yourself unless you learn how to know yourself.
Gotta
And to learn how to know yourself, to know who you are, you have to do the research.
Yeah. You have to
do the groundwork, bro. You got to do groundwork with anything.
Straight up. And it is so crazy how, like, it's weird, man. The world is so weird. Like, stuff that was a fact 10 years ago is like opinion now, which is weird. Like, it's so crazy how, like, the higher ups, if you will, they control the narrative, and then the people, like, just like society, they just okay it. Like, all this censorship is horrible because it's done by private companies. Think about this. The world is moving into an online space. The world is moving into an online space. That means you can order food online. You can order shoes online. You can order clothes.
Everything.
You can talk to people
Everything
online.
is digital.
Play games online. Everything. That means in the next 5 to 10 years, the world will probably be more digital, or at least human interaction will be more digital than it will be physical. In the online space, all the big players, they own, I guess, digital real estate, or they own like parts of the digital space in terms of speech, like Twitter. They own the speech aspect of the online space. It's a private company. So 10 years ago, something that you said on Twitter that was a fact now is an opinion. If you say that, you're going to get banned off of Twitter or censored or canceled, and you're taken off, and there's no way to get back on because it's a private company.
Wow.
So I'm like, it's just crazy, because that's just another example of how we have just become so desensitized to believing that we can be more than ourselves. You tell a person that, hey, why are you supporting a private company in this censorship and banning people because somebody had an opinion that you didn't like? Oh, well, you know, he was a misogynist, or he was a sexist, or all this stuff like that. I'm like, okay, block him. Wow. Why can't you just block him? Why can't you unfollow him? Instead, you want to cancel him, and you're enabling these companies to do so. You're turning this off because you don't understand it. In 3 years to 5 years, when you say something that they don't like, they're gonna take you off with no questions asked. So you're gonna be like, "Oh, what happened?"
And dude, I didn't even think about that, bro. You're right, bro. All of that digital stuff is owned by private companies. There are separate sections and I don't know what they call them. Like you said, the speech sector. That part alone.
Yeah, like
is
different
owned.
sectors of the internet.
And like, if you don't say if you say the wrong thing and it starts gaining attention, the attention that they don't want, because they don't want that kind of information out, they can just ban you that easy. I feel like that's the wrong world. That I feel like the world is heading into a place that you won't be able to say anything without like authorization. You know what I mean? I feel like if this is the land of the free, I should be able to say anything I want to say.
Yeah, but
like you said, just block me, bro.
Exactly. And it's crazy because like compliance is such an insane thing with these companies. As you said, with all these like black artists like doing endorsements and stuff for these companies, complying with them basically so they can keep getting this money. You remember what Logan Paul did?
I don't even remember. Oh, wait.
With the whole
China
in Japan,
yeah,
he went to
Japan
the forest and filmed. Yeah, exactly. So this dude Logan Paul, he did that, and he obviously got some heat for it. Anybody else who would have done that, you would have never heard from him again. Logan Paul, he literally and I'm not even trying to say this to be rude, I'm just saying metaphorically got on his knees and begged these companies to forgive him. Now Logan Paul is once again one of the biggest content creators on the internet. He's making so much money. He's in the WWE. He's boxing. He's got a big podcast. You want to know the first thing? He's selling drinks.
Yeah, bro.
You want to know the first thing he said when Andrew Tate got banned?
What?
That he's a bad man and he's good. He needs to be banned. All this stuff like that. You want to know why he said that? Is because if Logan Paul comes out and says, you know what? Even if he says something that I don't agree with, I don't think it was a good idea to ban him. They're gonna pull the plug from that man immediately. Logan Paul can't be seen agreeing with a misogynist or advocating for him not to be banned because he's a misogynist. If he don't comply, they're gonna pull the plug on him.
So yeah, who knows? He probably trying to deal under the table.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Or like, shoot, I'll come on here and say anything you want me to say as long as I get my platforms back.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll do whatever. So they probably told him this is what you need to say on this podcast. They probably got writers who tell him what he need to say.
And this dude Andrew Tate has doubled down on the podcast he's been on his views on stuff. So he's not going back on none of that stuff. Logan Paul can't be seen like supporting that man, even if you don't agree with him, because you don't have to agree with him. But you don't gotta agree with the fact that he got banned, because that sets a dangerous precedent going forward. And the people who will not basically stand on their own thoughts and their own merits, they're gonna support this.
They're gonna see what Logan Paul said. Oh, that's Logan Paul. Logan Paul has a big influence, bro.
Oh my god,
Paul brothers.
Oh my goodness.
Anybody watching them, they're gonna be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, bro.
This guy Andrew Tate, he's not a good guy. Oh, I'm gonna take his word for it.
Exactly, bro.
Taking fact, not knowing that that's his opinion, and taking that as a fact,
bro. Straight up,
they
man.
don't know the difference between fact and opinion anymore.
It's a game, bro.
Go see for yourself. Go listen to his podcast. Go listen to everything Andrew Tate said, and you tell me how you feel about him.
Yeah. It's all a game, bro, and it's being executed at the highest level by the people who run it.
Yep.
And then the people who are the players, they don't want to face that reality that they've been getting pimped for God knows how long.
No different than a woman on the street getting pimped out for sex and coming back while giving her money to the man, and he gives her back how much he wants to give her. That's basically what, dude. Now don't get me wrong. I'm cool with paying taxes.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
The government literally garnish our wages, and that's another thing. The government garnishes our wages, don't put back into our communities, and we flood the white man. We make the white man richer than they already are, bro. Like, come on now. That's crazy to me,
bro. I'm saying. So is that why you stopped, like, kind of pursuing rap? Did you see that side of it and just didn't want anything to do with it?
Yeah, bro. It's all fake. Life is not what it is.
Cause I remember you was doing that for a minute, and then you just kind of just stopped.
It was rapping for me. It was somewhat of an escape from my own reality, and I was just putting my own pain in the music, really. And I feel like that was the wrong thing to do. Once I learned that music is spiritual, and I'm making you feel what I felt, and you, I don't know. And I don't know, but I kind of seen it for what it was, especially after Nipsey Hussle died. I started listening to some of his podcasts and shit like that, and the life is not what it seems, bro. They're controlled and manipulated, and in the rap thing, all of the billboards and shit, they are controlled by the labels, bro. And if you try to stay independent, you won't make it, because they won't put you on the billboards. And if you somehow end up on a billboard and become big enough like that, oh, they're gonna blackball you, bro.
For real.
They're gonna make sure you don't end up on these billboards some way or somehow, because these labels, they're gonna be like, oh, who is he under? People really sign under labels for protection, bro.
That's crazy.
For protection, really, just to get their names on these platforms so they can sell their music. And that's sad to me. The whole rap game just need to be redesigned and just thrown away. Dude, it's sad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. That must be how these, like, people are popping up now. Cause, like, I don't even know. I just keep seeing the word munch everywhere, and I'm like, there's no way that was just done just in somebody's basement or something like that. I'm like, there had to be some backing.
The song's not even good, bro.
I don't even know. I heard the song. I'm like, I don't even know the lyrics, bro.
When you make a song and you know the right people, and they can get this song on these platforms and promoted by these certain influencers, and oh, this song is you or that nigga a munch. Oh, now everybody's saying it. Like I said, we can sit here and talk about all the bad things. But like I say, man, long as you have your own truth on the inside and know what you believe in, that's all that really matters. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and judge the people who just follow behind all these influencers and don't like. If that's the way you want to live your life, okay. But me personally, I feel like I'm responsible for what I do and the influence I have on people, and I'm gonna do my best to influence the people that I know in a good way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I feel like nothing stays the same forever, and it won't forever be like this. And if you look around the world, America, somewhat the best place to be right now.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if it's better than North Korea. They can't even lead a country if you were a citizen there.
Bro, last year I saw people rioting in Chicago talking about how they want communism. They don't even know what they're saying, bro. Like, go there for a day. Brittany Griner, ask her.
Pretty grind ass her. And
Ask her, bro. She got, and that tripped me up too, because I'm like, people are so up in arms about that. You got to realize that there are people in this country who are in prison for a very long time because of weed. Now, that might have been their third or fourth offense. It's still egregious. That was her first offense. You get 9 years in prison for your first offense on weed, that in such a small quantity here, and they will be in the streets burning stuff down until you get out of prison. She's stuck over there. So even though America has flaws, I feel like our potential to change what is in this country is what makes it great. And I think that people are so blinded and so stuck in their circumstances that they don't acknowledge that with a little hard work, because it's not easy. You have to put in hard work to make the change, but you can't make no change in Russia. You can't make change in North Korea. You can't do that. You can't make change in China. You can't do that. So I'm like, the potential for us to change our culture is there, but it's in our hands, and we have to be the ones to put those feet forward.
It starts with me. It starts with you.
Exactly.
And you doing the groundwork for yourself will better help our people in the end.
Exactly.
It don't matter if it's one person, and then that one person turn to two, and that two turn to four, and four turn to eight. You know what I mean? We got to start small to get somewhere.
I mean, exactly.
Even this city here, we don't. Who are we following, bro? Nobody. There's no unity.
There's
here.
no leaders, bro.
And then we look outside our city for influence when we can create our own influence to influence other cities. I feel like we need to just figure out ways to create unity and just clean up our own communities, bro. Like, I don't know, it's getting bad. And the truth, like I keep saying, the truth doesn't even matter no more, because you can't even have these conversations with people anymore because it just doesn't matter.
No, it don't. You at the very second that you say something that somebody disagrees with, and they start having a panic attack, and then they think of every ism in the book that they can call you, or phobic or phobia that they can call you, or whatever. I'm like, those words are used so much, I don't even know what they mean anymore. I don't even know what racism means anymore. Like, I thought racism meant that you view a race and you view it as inferior, or you view yourself as superior on the basis of race. People don't even use it in those languages anymore. I'm like, I saw that notification the other day, a bigot. I'm like, okay, I know what a bigot is, but I don't know what this person means by bigot, because it definitely don't mean what I know what it means. There's no way, because we use it so much. All these words have been grouped together. I'm like, that's the go-to. So yeah, it's unfortunate you can't even have a conversation with people anymore and disagree, or you might even be surprised and agree on some stuff. But we can't even get to that point because people are just so. And man, the design of everything is crazy. The more I talk about it, the more amazed I get, because it's all by design. People are easily controlled now more than ever because we're in the house all the time. We're on phones. We're being hypnotized by all this stuff. Therefore, we have no social skills. We can't interact with people. You want to know what that makes us more? That makes us more tribal than ever. Therefore, for this politician, they know for certain that they got these people who are going to vote for them, because they know these people are not willing to go outside of their comfort zone, to go across the aisle, to go talk to somebody who they might disagree with. They got it on lock.
Yeah, bro, we playing chess, not checkers. Let me ask you this: how do you feel about capitalism?
I like capitalism more than socialism, but I think that my issue with capitalism is how it's manipulated. So earlier when I was talking about like Black Lives Matter or whatnot, that's a capitalistic organization.
Yeah.
They started off as a movement. They're selling hats, they're selling T-shirts, they're probably selling slippers and coffee mugs and all this stuff like that as donations. And once they get that money, then now these black people start moving into white neighborhoods. All capitalism is a game of monopoly. It's just trying to get as much money as possible. And the reason why I prefer capitalism over socialism is because if you put 5 people in a room, some of them are black, some of them are white, some of them, or one of them is Asian, one of them is Hispanic, 2 of them are women, 3 of them are men. Guess what? If they all got $1 billion each, none of them care about anything that has to do with race or gender or whatever. They all care that they got money. If I give you, if you were to walk outside after we get done with this and a white person jumped out of the bushes, called you the N-word, you probably wouldn't be too happy with that. If I gave you $1 million after we got done with this and you walked outside and a white person jumped out of a bush and called you the N-word and went back into the bush, you'd be walking down the street. You probably wouldn't even hear them because you got $1 million. It don't even matter. So I'm like, so we have been conditioned to love money so much that we are willing to become the ugliest versions of ourselves. Now, the unfortunate reality is that you kind of need money to function at any capacity in this world. Exactly. So, but what I have come to terms with is that I'm okay with getting to a certain point where I know that this is enough money.
Yeah.
Right, where I'm comfortable with this. I don't need to sell my soul to then get more because I just can't help myself.
Just because you're greedy.
Exactly. So I'm like, that is the part of capitalism that I like. I like the freedom to start a business and to forge my own path because I also know my limits. Now, a lot of people do and they just become corrupt or whatever. But socialism is problematic in the fact that the government is so influential on your life that, I mean, once they have the foot in the door, I've heard the saying 1,000,000 times before, when you give somebody an inch, they take a mile, and then they won't stop. The government, once they're in your life, they're in it, and there's no getting them out. The government is supposed to be a body that just oversees the country. They intervene when they need to.
They're not even supposed to have, like, money and shit. They're just supposed to be the government and protect your rights.
Exactly. You got freaking Congress people doing trading on the stock market and all this stuff like that. I'm like, you guys are just not good people.
Everything is so corrupt, bro.
Yeah, bro. And I'm like, you are supposed to be a body that just oversees what goes on and intervene when it's necessary.
See,
that's why I don't like socialism.
Let me say this about capitalism. I love it, but at the same time, I don't. It's because people get greedy. And what I mean, and when I say people get greedy, people get power hungry and just money hungry, and they forget that the reason that everything is running is because you got those small bus drivers who don't make a lot of money, those small fast food workers, those small register people who work at the register, bro. The people who are holding capitalism up, we don't get appreciated that much, bro. I feel like the higher ups, the ones we're holding up, the ones who are manipulating us so that they can stay up, they need to just show a little more appreciation and just give back to the ones who are holding them, just keeping this country afloat.
Exactly.
Because the people are what keeping this country afloat.
Yeah, you know it is 100%, and it's just crazy how, I don't know. It's crazy how the world works, and it's just unfortunate to see the fact that we're like physically free, but we're still like mentally enslaved, and as a black person, it's not disheartening, but it is frustrating when like I'll try to express that, or I'll see another black person try to express that, and they are scrutinized at every turn because they're not subscribing to like the normal black agenda. It's like if you divert from that, then you're, whatever they want to call you.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. It's crazy that it's come down to that, but it's important to, I don't know. As I said earlier, it's important to give 100%. That's how you eliminate all this BS that comes with everything. You just focus on being the best you, and by nature, you're just gonna be better for other people, society as a whole. It don't matter what race you are, don't matter what gender you are. It's just that's just how it needs to be.
Yeah, and it don't matter who you are. It don't matter. Literally, it don't matter who you are. Somebody is looking at you, and they're looking at you for influence.
I mean,
They're looking at you in a influential way, like, oh, I want to be like that person. I don't care who you are.
yeah, you
could be a homeless person on the street. There's somebody looking at you, bro.
there's a rich person probably looking at them, being like, dang, I wish I had that solidarity with myself. I ain't had all these people knocking at my freaking door.
I wish I was that free. There are rich kids who grow up rich that end up wanting to be homeless.
Hey, bro.
That like get away from everything, go in the woods and just be solitary for months.
Exactly. So
Or start hitchhiking and just being homeless. I don't know.
Shout out to J. Cole. His song "Love Yours" is one of the best songs I never heard because it's so important. Just be grateful for what you have, and you will be successful in everything you do. It's as simple as that. But you gotta be willing to let that ego die and to acknowledge that you have flaws, that we as a community, we have flaws, and that regardless of what white people have done historically and what maybe corporate white people are doing now, us as black people, we have to take accountability. We got to take responsibility for our community and the issues that we got. And I mean, because nobody else gonna do it. No one else is gonna do it, and it's as simple as that.
And we have more freedom to do it now than ever before.
Yeah, so it's not
Free your
squandered.
mind and think for yourself and give it 100%, man.
Hell yeah, but I love you, man.
I love you too.
Thank
bro.
you so much for doing this. It's crazy. You were the first guest on here, so now the first one where it's being filmed. I don't know. I can't thank you enough, man.
Yeah, man. I gotta try to get back on here more, But life hits everybody in different ways, and we all just gotta put our focus on certain things. But you also gotta learn how to manage your time. Time
Straight
is
up
more valuable than anything. You gotta learn how to manage it.
And it's important to make time to do things that really matter. Because, like, if you need to take a day off of work, take it. Because, honestly, like, if you had issues, they will replace you in a heartbeat. So,
And make time for the ones you love.
Exactly. So, acknowledge what's important, but take accountability, please, because that's the best way to move forward. It's as simple as that. But, I don't know, man. One day we'll see something happen.
Yeah, everything, like I say, everything is changing.
Nothing
stays the same forever.
Nope, man. Shout out to Shia LaBeouf. If it's, what did he say? He said everything will be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end. That almost made me cry.
It's all gonna be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end.